Good evening, everyone. I'm just getting everything laid out and set up here. 1 second so everybody can see. I want to make sure everything's good. Okay. And if I'm a little winded, I just finished going to the gym. Yes, really. So, we are good and ready to go. I got my mojo back. So, hi Lise, how are you? I am trying to find myself right at the moment. You're gonna laugh at that. But I'm actually looking on my computer to see where the live feed is and I don't see it yet. So, yes dear, it's just, yeah, it's me. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Johnny Daniel. And I am a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator. Having a blast most of the time. Of course, today was a frustrating day because I had to deal with computers. And computers and I don't always get along. So, it's okay. So I ran it out with the whole elliptical. And I'm a little sweaty and a little bit of a mess. But besides that, we are doing great. So, is everything lined up okay? Let me know. Are we good? I forgot my card bases, of course, right? So, alrighty. So, since I can't see anything, let me refresh one time before we get started. And then we are going to get moving on this. Card bases. Yahoo! You know I gotta forget one thing. Which is why I don't do a lot of classes outside of home. Well, one of the many reasons. That and everybody seems to not like to clean their house. So, alrighty, so we're gonna get started. I wanted to let you know this was the paper pumpkin. And the heart will not stay, and I've done a glue dot, and I'm trying to figure out what else I can do to hold that down. I think what I'm going to have to do is run a thing of tear tape under here so this doesn't pop. But really, really cute project. Is my lineup okay? See, if this was taped down, I wouldn't have this problem. But anyways, really cute and really awesome project. Better yet, I might put the heart up here. Not even close it completely and use the arrows for something else. I'm not really sure. I just got it yesterday, so I was happy that I got anything put together. At all. So, alrighty. So I think we are set. Alright, so my middle's there. Alright, let's go. So, tonight we are doing some watercoloring with the new pencils. This is Mediterranean Moments stamp set. There we go. Since I'm trying to do quick tonight, I won't be doing this big one because, well, hello, there's a lot of coloring to it. So, I will be stamping and inking and doing all that. Couple notes. Let me get my brain in this mode. So, couple of notes. This is the shimmery white paper instead of the Whisper White. If you are doing watercoloring, yes, you can do it on Whisper White, but you have to be super careful for it to not piddle up or whatever you want to call it. So, suggested would be the watercolor paper or the shimmery white is a good second. If you absolutely have to do it on Whisper White, but just be really careful, especially if you're doing the aqua painters, because there's a lot of water and more chance for it to obviously float well, but on the other hand, you're going to have more piddles and that kind of thing. Now, suggested with the watercolor pencils was the Memento ink. However, I've been using the black, or you can also use the gray archival, and I haven't had problems with it running. Knock on wood. So, tonight, I probably will have problems with it, and it'll be funny. But, in the meantime, we'll see how that goes, won't we? Alright, so I'm going to open my black ink. And I'm going to try to stay on the screen here so everybody can see. And I think we are going to do all 3 of these because I did already the main one, right? So what I'm going to do is pre-stamp these, all 3 of them, and then we will move on and do everything else because then it will have time. You want it to set for about 30 seconds or so to a minute. So you just make sure that ink is good and dry. Now, basic layout, I'm going to be doing about the same in the sense of stamping on top and doing the words on the bottom. Just because my focus tonight is not on, sorry, I couldn't stamp and talk at the same time. Go figure, huh? But my focus I do not want to have on the layout and whatnot. I want it to be on the technique. So, let's see. So there's that one. And there's Miss Kitty Cat. So we're going to do her. Alright. Now I have not had classes with coloring and whatnot, so I'm not great yet at doing all the shading and all that kind of stuff. And, okay. So there we go. There are our 3. So far so good, right? Okay. So let's see. We did this one last, and we're going to start with the chairs. Okay. Now, unfortunately, this week I do have a sympathy card to make. So I will probably be stamping my words later because I actually don't know exactly what I need and what's going on. So, just a heads up. So, alrighty, so I'm going to grab these pencils here. Now, all these pencils, these are let me move this before I mess something up. Alright, so these are our new watercolor pencils. They do not come in this case. Hold on. Did I keep it? Yes, hold on. The actual case looks like this. And I've seen a lot of people use a die cut and cut out down here so you can see the colors through the window and that kind of thing. But honestly, with classes with me and with everything and how much I use my stuff, I could see this getting destroyed very quick because it's, you know, cardboard basically. So I just put these in a clear mount stamp case. We do have them available on order, sets of 4, and I could give you a whole bunch of different ideas if you need other ways to use them. Help organize scraps and all kinds of things. Each pencil is numbered. So this is number 1 in the set, and this is real red. Now, notice, if you're coloring lightly, it's going to look more pink. If you really lay down some color, then you will get the true color. It's just really on how much force you put into it and how much color you lay down. But the core of it is that color. So it may or may not look like it, but it is. I promise. So, alrighty, so let's get some coloring done. And first off, so tonight we're going to do it in 3 different ways. We're going to use a blender pen, we're going to use the aqua painter, and then we're going to use the stella. Hello, that just like went out the way. And we will get things rolling, okay? So let me do one more refresh on the computer and see what colors we want to do. Now, spring and Valentine's Day is coming. Oh, and I should tell you, let's see. If you could only see what the side looks like. Maybe I'll show you later. Alright, so I'm using for my backgrounds or my mats, Sending Love Designer Series paper stack. And I picked out the 3 that looked kind of vintage to me. Now on the back, it's going to look more white, and then you're going to have more of a red base on the other flip side. These are normally 6x6. I did cut them down so they matte. And I just picked 3 that kind of looked more vintage or retro for me. So, okay. So that's what we're looking at. I forgot about that. We have to coordinate, right? So, let's see here. Alrighty. So let's get to coloring, shall we? Alright, so the board I'm thinking is going to be brown, which we have here as early espresso. Now, the brilliance to watercoloring is, you're saying, oh my gosh, John, you're scribbling. Well, guess what? I'm okay with that. Because, and those are words, so maybe that's more gray or black. I don't know. Like I said, you know, not awesome at this, but I just want to show you the technique. I'm sure you will do better than me doing this live and being a little nervous with this whole thing. So, all right, so let's see. The tablecloth, I really want to focus on that red. Now you're going, oh my gosh, she's not in the lines. Oh my gosh, she's kind of scribbling. Oh my gosh, da da da, you know, whatever. So guess what? That blender pen is going to fix all of this because it's going to float that color all the way to the edge. If you haven't used blender pens before, they are oh so forgiving. I want some more red in there. So you really got to get some of that red down in there. And if you don't like what it looks like, you can always float water to lighten it up, or you can get some more pencil and kind of do that and get some more going on that. All right, so this is Daffodil Delight because I want to say there's a candle in there for somebody, right? Okay, so let's see. I'm thinking it's wrought iron. And I'm thinking, you remember the wrought iron that they used to have that like Tiffany blue kind of color way back when? Oh, and I have to tell you, this is awesome. Yes, eventually I will need to get a pencil sharpener. But they come sharpened. Isn't that cool? So, alright. So we're just going to trace around this real quick. And, awesome, right? Okay. So some blue, and actually, let me say, Bermuda Bay. Sorry guys, I just got these in, so I'm still learning what color coordinates with what and everything else, just like you would be. So see how I'm kind of scribbling there? That's all going to be fixed with that miraculous magic wand of a blender pen. Isn't that cool? Alrighty, and then I'm seeing here that there is a stand for the table. And I'm thinking we're going to do this. And then cobblestone, right? So I'm like thinking grayish, brownish, I don't know. So I'm just going to do this and we're just going to like float some color. And we can always... see what mess it is? It's okay though. And then here's Old Olive. I think I picked all my favorites for the basics. So, literally gonna float all that color and it will be fine. I promise. So there's bricks that I'm seeing. So I'm actually gonna lay down a little bit of, I'm thinking it's brown or espresso. And I'm gonna lay some red over it to give it that more brick kind of color, I want to say. Okay, so let's see. That was number one. I have to keep them in order at least for a minute, right? So, what kind of trim for the... oh my gosh, I can't think tonight. For the house or whatever it is. I don't know. I am thinking we need some kind of neutral... okay, got it. Thanks, Linda. Hey, how are you? I didn't know you were on. Cool. So this is our blender pen. This is actually a glycerin-based pen. I'm not sure if they're refillable. I've actually, by the time they run out, mine are usually pretty destroyed and I want a new one. So basically with the blender pens, I generally start with the lightest color first. And I'm just going to float my color And I don't know if you see this or not, but it just makes it super, super nice. Now, in order to clean a watercolor pen, you just scratch it off and you float the next color. So super easy, isn't it? Now, watercolor pens, I'm just going to finish this, or blender pens rather. Super, super easy to use, obviously, if I can do it. And one thing is, let's see, when you are, see how that red came out? When you're using these, you can very easily use them a whole bunch of different ways. One, you can use your ink refill and put it in a little tray, and you can dip it in, almost like a paintbrush. If you don't have that, which I usually don't, you can use an ink pad. Hold on. Alright, now I gotta get into the nitty-gritty, so I had to think for a minute. Alright, so get that yellow. And see how I'm just kind of scratching off? So I'm trying to not necessarily stay with one thing, but with one color. That way I do not have to scratch off a whole bunch and use up more of my glycerin or ink or whatever you want to call it than I need to. So, alrighty. So we're just floating this, but see how it just fills in so nicely. It's just awesome. Alrighty, so the last thing I have to do is this black, and I'm thinking I might want to keep some of that black to offset this sidewalk down here. Alright, and then last but not least is the tablecloth, because we gotta fill in those little bit of lines that we didn't quite get to. So the other way we can use a blender pen, and I'll show you as soon as I finish this, is you can actually squeeze the lid of your ink pad if you didn't know this already, and you can use what ink comes out on the lid, and you can, ooh, I didn't see this before. That's the other nice thing about a blender pen, is you can kind of float the ink where you need it to go if you forgot a whole section. So there's our first one. I'm loving that pop of that red. Alrighty, so blender pen, ink pad, you squeeze, and what you're trying to do when you pop it is to have ink in the lid, right? So that way you can dip it and then paint with it, okay? So that is the idea. So, am I going to offer a class on this technique? Of course, Linda, we can offer a class on this technique. Absolutely. So, no problem. Alright, so that's the first one. And then the second one I think we're going to do is the cat. Now, we've used the blender pen, so I want to put that to the side so I don't get confused, because, you know, I might. So, we're going to do the same kind of coloring. Messy is okay, because we can fix it later. And what color does our cat need to be? Anybody have an opinion on that? I am thinking like a gray and white, or do we want to do like an orange and white? I don't know. Anybody? So Miss Linda, we have class on the watercoloring technique. Let's see. I think pretty much everybody's done it up in the Marty's group, because I know I taught it at one point. So I'll have to see what I come up with, and we will figure it out. It'd be a lot of fun for the group that you're in, though. Ah, calico. Alright, explain to me calico. Is that the orange and the white? Miss Linda? Is that what that means? I'm trying to remember without having to search for it, because, you know, I'm going to fill in everything else, and hopefully you've told me by then. So, and I'm thinking this should be flowers instead of green. What do you think? I think we need some flowers in here. I'm ready for spring, Christmas is over. Let's get going. I would like it to be warmer. So I'm ready for flip-flop weather to come back. I have much cuter sandals than I do my flats and stuff. So I like it when flip-flop weather is here. So I don't know about everybody else, but being in the desert, it kind of spoils you. So, alright. Calico is orange and white. I guessed correctly. Thank you, Linda. So, let's see here. We are going to do a little bit of orange. And I might mess this up, and it's okay. And I am thinking we're going to do orange where it's darker. He needs eyeballs so badly, doesn't he? And we got some white going on. I think his little mouth needs some color, though. What do you think? We need to tie in that red, don't we? Oh, he looks like he has lipstick. We're going to have to fix that when we lay down the aqua painter. I told you I wasn't great at coloring. Ooh, it shows. Alrighty. So, your cat will look much better, I promise. Let's see, is this... Oh, that probably made it worse. Okay, we're going to stop here because my cat looks like he's on drugs. So, alright, so this is an aqua painter. These come in sets of 2. I think it's $16, and honestly, through all the classes and everything else, I think I've destroyed one, and I've had them for like 6 years. There's a medium tip and a smaller tip. I believe this is the smaller one, and as long as you take care of them, they'll pretty much take care of you. So what you want to do, because they are a pressure kind of thing, I usually squeeze it just to get it going. And pretty much like the blender pen, you are going to try to do one color and then kind of scratch off as needed. Now the other thing with this aqua painter, yes, it's water, so it's a little bit harder to control sometimes. You also, because I just did it, you have to pay attention to where your fingers are because it's water. So if you lay your hand across it, then you're smearing what you've just done. So you gotta plan it a little bit better and kind of pay attention a little bit more. The nice thing about the aqua painter though is that you can put other stuff in it. So for instance, all of our papers are, the core is all the way through, except for on the designer papers and that kind of stuff, which is really awesome because that means you can put some bleach in this thing and you can make it so you can draw and have, you know, a lighter shade come out. So there's a whole bunch of different things you can do, but as you can see, it's not quite as precise as the blender pen. So when you're doing things, and you want it to be precise, you want to be a little bit careful. Oh, my cat looks so freaky. We're going to get rid of that lipstick, and we're going to get rid of the owl eyes. Yeah, okay. So, I'm not really sure if that's a true calico, but that's what I could do. And some days are better than others. I'm going to make some of this go out like this so it doesn't look like a circle under this chair. And I'm going to stop before it gets worse. I'm not a pro at coloring. This is actually one of my harder things that I do. But not too bad considering a minute ago I had a lipstick owl-eyed kitty cat. One thing is with this though, because it's water, you're going to leave it set to dry for quite a bit longer, or you can use the low setting on the heat tool and have it dry, but you got to be very careful because that paper will curl on you pretty quick. So, last but not least, since this paper does have a shimmer to it, I figured we could use the clear Wink of Stella, which just has the iridescent or the glitter kind of thing. And this one, because we've done so much coloring already, I figured, you remember those 80s commercials that had like everything was in black or everything was in white? I think it was a Pepsi commercial actually. And Like the girls had the red lipstick and that was it. So what I was thinking of doing was I'm going to color this Vespa or this scooter all just in red. And what we're going to do is float this red with the Wink of Stella. And what this does, it acts pretty similar to a blender pen or to, you know, the aqua painter. But what it'll do for you is put some glitter into it. Like we need more, right? Always. So I'm laying down quite a bit of red because I want it to be red, not pinky or anything else. But I am just getting the majority of it, and as you can see, I'm pressing pretty hard because I want it to be red, and I want it to be awesome and stand out crazy red, not pink, not slightly anything. So I'm just really trying to get, and this is my pop of color. You know those, like those posters that had the kid that was holding like a flower and everything's in black and white except for the flower, that kind of thing. Alright, so with these, this is your Wink of Stella, and this is your batch on one side, and on the other side there's a sticker that says clear or if you bought the gold. What you want to do when you store these after you open them is make sure that you, everything else in this whole entire thing, like the markers and all that, we say flat, right? So the Wink of Stella you actually want to store upright so that way it doesn't leak, okay? So this is what this looks like. We don't want to shake it. This is another pressurized barrel. So you want to grab a corner just like your aqua painter, and you are going to squeeze. Now I had one that was almost empty, so I'll have to see. Oh, there we go. Alrighty, so there's my pile of glitter, and I usually just dip into it to get that tip going because it's still kind of dry, usually. And what I'm going to do is wipe some of this off and just go over this. And this is going to add a layer of glitter and not move and not float the color as much, but it'll give you a different depth than what you could do with pretty much anything else. I've tried it with other things and it's really, really hard to do. So this is actually